You are listening to Fiber Focus, your inside track to the world of fiber optics, telecom, and data technologies. Each episode, we bring you expert insights, industry innovation, and the conversations driving connectivity forward. My name is Meredith Neely. I'm your host, joined today by Sean Kelly, who is the General Manager and Technical Director at Light Brigade. Nice to meet you, Sean.
Nice to meet you.
We are meeting for the first time today on camera,
We are.
which is wild because we've both been in the industry since the 1900s.
Correct.
I started in 96, you started in 97, and I'd love to hear how you got to where you are today. But for a moment, can we talk about where you started? I was looking over your LinkedIn and I was struck by your first role where you were supporting the development of the groundbreaking MTRJ connector.
Oh boy. Yes. Yeah. So I got into fiber even before that, Meredith. Um, in middle school, I struggled to come up with a science fair project, and I saw an article. It might have been Popular Mechanics or something like that on plastic optical fiber. The article had a reference to a company that was nearby where I lived, so I reached out to people there. And they sent me a spool of 1,000 micron plastic optical fiber, which I still have to this day, and a few connectors that I used a little hot knife. When I started in the late 90s, we were kind of in a connector evolution. We had historically had the older connectors, the Biconics, the D4s, S-Con connectors, things like that. But the drive started to go to smaller connectors and not just the SCs and the STs. So the company I worked at, they were one of the co-developers of the MTRJ connector, which was a 2-fiber connector using an RJ latch similar to the copper connectivity. And it had a lot of potential. It was based on the MT technology that was used for MPO, MPX, those other multi-fiber connectors. And specifically, the issue became is how to actually terminate those connectors. And so while normally with a, SC, ST, FC, any of those connectors, they could be terminated in the field. The plug-in could be terminated in the field. But with a 2-fiber, it was nearly impossible. Similar to the copper world, we had gone to a jack, a field-terminated jack. So where you're actually putting fibers into the receptacle and mounting those and then pre-terminated patch cords and things like that. So it was a great connector, especially for multi-mode.
Right.
The other challenge that we had was the protrusion, or making sure that you had positive contact with between the plug and the interface and the jack. And with single mode, it just really became an incredible challenge. And it was in an era of that small form factor connection evolution. I mean, there were probably more than I can mention. There was the MU connector, which was the mini SC. The LC started to come around, the LX.5, the F3000, I can't think of what, the Volition. There were a lot of these connectors, and they kind of all were new on the market after we had not seen evolution for a few years. And then it really came down to the MTRJ and the LC. And they went on for about 2 or 3, maybe 4 years as which one is the industry going to choose. Eventually, MTRJ kind of faded into the sunset, and LC
is still
the
trusty
king. Yeah.
friend.
Yes, it is.
Let's bring it to what we're doing now.
Okay.
These days at Light Brigade as the general manager and technical director, what sort of work are you doing?
So we're kind of focused in 3 areas. One is our traditional training, which we are, I think between our online classes and our in-person classes, we have about a little over 25 different course offerings, where we focus on telecom, data center, utilities, mining, even oil and gas. So we do that as a business to business. We also have a product side of our business where it's a distribution group where we end up distributing tooling, test equipment, fusion splicers, components, different things like that to those in the industry. we're not out to compete with the big boys. It's more on project basis where someone who's gone through our training says, "Hey, what can you help us with?" And then in addition to that, we have our workforce development group. And so with workforce development, it's really we've had a huge shortage in technicians and, even our unemployed and underemployed Americans. So we've been working with different organizations and higher education institutes to implement some of our classes. They do it on a licensing basis. We do a train the trainer, and they deliver our courses in evenings or sometimes in coursework for those underskilled or unskilled folks to bring them back into the workforce, especially in our industry. We've had a shortage of technicians, and this doesn't matter if it's in the co-op space, utility, telecom, datacom, data center. There are not enough technicians.
Nationwide.
Nationwide. And there are a lot of things that build up to that. One of them was, especially in the electrical trades, which has led in the evolution to our telecom trades, is there was always the uncle that was in the industry and had his nephew or child that wasn't necessarily going in the right direction, said, "You're going to shape up. You're coming to work with me." And they're in the trades.
Yeah.
30 couple years ago, there was a big trend that says, blue collar work, you don't want to do that. You want to go get a college education, get a cushy office job, do something like that. And that worked for a while until we now down the road realized that we had a huge gap. So currently the average age of a technician is around 45 years old. They're nearing their first retirement, especially if they're a union. They are also moving into other management roles and coming out of the field. And so the accepted statistic in our industry is for that every 5 technicians that retire or exit, there's only 1 to replace them.
Oh, wow.
So now we compound that with the huge growth in data center, huge growth in fiber to the home. That's actually, instead of that status quo demand of being 5 to 1, we've now magnified the demand of what we need. So we're even shorter in those. So that's why we've really had the idea to try to not only do workforce development, but also look as a technical school program and even hitting some of the high school and middle school students just to kind of prime them and show them this field is available for them as a career.
Oh, that is such important work. And the quote unquote blue collar work, there is a path from that start to the desk job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the tough things is a lot of times blue collar work is seen as a job, not a career.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things we try to instill in our students is really that this is not a job. You're going to learn this. You're going to get a certification, perhaps a credential.
Right.
This is preparing you for the long-term path.
Right.
Where that path is going to take you, I don't know. I could have never written my path
Right.
from the beginning. I mean, honestly, my first job, I remember my manager at the time saying, "I'm so sorry. Your computer did not come in. It'll be another week." And I thought, what am I going to use a computer for? It was, yeah, looking back, it's like, okay, now I know what I was going to use a computer for. But, you really can't write that path. But, if you're in a good, solid industry, you can be there for life. And with fiber optics, it's one of those that it's so diverse
Right.
that you may start out in a data center, but you may decide that outside plant's where you want to be. You may find that you want to be a lineman. You could be doing fiber optic sensing on a pipeline in Alaska. There are a lot of different opportunities that once you have that skill set, you can go just about anywhere.
I'm just struck that your entry point was a Popular Mechanics, we think, article and the plastic spool
Yeah.
fiber in your home and the experiments that you were doing in your own lab at home, and now you're doing the work to be the entry point for the next generation.
Yeah. An interesting look back into my career, it's part of the reason why I'm at Light Brigade doing what I do today, is for the first third to half of my career, I'll say about third, a little better than that, I felt that I was helping to evolve the industry to help grow it. So we talked about the MTRJs, the LCs, a lot of these innovative connectors. that have shaped today.
Right.
And in the middle, while I certainly love the experience, in sales, application engineering, product management, those types of things, I felt that in that middle area of my career, I was making a difference, but for a balance sheet,
Mm,
not for the industry.
yeah.
So when coming back to Light Brigade, to me, it's putting me back in that giving back to the industry, evolving the industry. We've got the products.
Mm.
We just don't have the people to properly install them, maintain them, use them.
Yes.
And so to me, it's just that's kind of where my heart is to really help evolve and improve the industry.
Right. This is such an important topic. It's one that we've been having multiple episodes of this podcast. I remember talking to Lauren Deloach and Andrew DeGidio and Taylor Bremenkamp about the need to bring more people into the industry, and you had some very interesting statistics
Yeah.
on that. So, for people who are listening to this and they want to get started, they can, I imagine, go to your website.
Sure.
What will they find there? What are some of the sorts of resources that people can explore?
Yeah. So, I mean, even just in the course offering themselves, we have them broken down into, well, I could start with the introductory. Introductory is kind of normally self-paced, very short, maybe video, self-learning. That's not enough to get you a certification or a credential. But we do move on to then our foundational, intermediate, and advanced levels of courses. And obviously, you follow them in that specific order. So they can, from there, pick topics, whether it is data center or fiber to the home, general fiber optics. So they're able to see what they're going to learn. We at Light Brigade, we have a balance. We have an intentional balance that we spend equal time on the theory as well as the hands-on.
Mm,
Sometimes people focus on the theory and people don't know how to apply it. Others teach you how to push buttons, but they don't know why they're pushing the buttons. We want that full understanding because one of the things that tends to happen is when people don't have that training and have know-how, they will take shortcuts. And it worked right now. It benefited them. They got it done faster. But what did they impact over here
right.
or down the road? So we want to make sure that we're teaching that they understand it inside and out. Beyond that, we do explain the value of those certifications, and we work with multiple certification bodies. So depending on what the course is, they will earn that. And then we also have Light Brigade credentials as well. So we have a path set up for general fiber optics. We call it our Certified Fiber Optic Expert, CFLE. And that's really when someone takes a foundational, an intermediate, and advanced course, they can earn that. And then we do, over in the broadband side, we have 3 different stages for that: a technician, a specialist, and professional, where we've laid out their learning path to earn those as well. And so part of that is completing the course, passing our exam, earning the industry credential for each one of those, and then they can earn that shield or that badge.
How can somebody determine what sorts of training or certifications they need to get work where they live?
So that's one of the reasons why we partner with nationwide or even global organizations such as the ETA, the Electronics Technician Association, the Fiber Broadband Association, the UTC for utilities, because really those credentials are recognized anywhere. There are others out there. I mean, most of our courses have BICSI CEC, continuing education credits associated with them. And there are a few others that have continuing education as well in other organizations. But we try to keep to those that are really recognized and backed by an industry group. From the workforce development, we're looking at that saying someone that might have been overlooked coming as an entry level, if they have that, a contractor is more open to saying, oh, I'll talk to you.
Right.
But if they are hiring just off the street or from a different department or somewhere else, they can also put those same employees through that credentialing program.
Oh, right. Through your business to business
Sure.
outreach.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today. It was lovely to meet you and chat with you, and I hope you'll come back and chat some other time because I
Love
know we have so much more that we could
tours.
talk about, but we are out of time today. That's it for this episode of Fiber Focus. Stay connected with us for more discussions on the future of fiber optics, data centers, and all things telecom. Until next time, stay focused.